Title: TIFU. By hooking my girlfriend up with a job at a company I work for. Happened years ago, but I was told to post this here. My girlfriend, at the time, and I were dating for just shy of 6 years. We were high school sweethearts and still in school. She had always struggled with jobs and keeping them, and since we lived together, I usually had to pick up the slack. I was working as an assistant manager at a video game retail store at the time, probably not hard to figure out which one. It was honestly an easy job as long as you gave little effort. Pre-orders here, couple warranty cells there. As my girlfriend loved video games more than I did, I had the brilliant idea to get her a job. She's a girl, solid 7/10, while 80% of our customers were neckbeards who hardly get to interact with women. There's no way she can fuck this up, I said, confidently to myself. There is a policy as of most companies that people in relationships can't work at the same location. No problem. We have 12 stores in our district that are within a 5-mile radius. They seriously put these stores on every other block. I do a little digging and hook her up at a neighboring store that had a vacant position. She would also be working with the head store manager of the district, indirectly one of my bosses. Few weeks in, and it's going great. What took me about a year to get moved up, she does in weeks. I'm not a self-conscious person, so I didn't care. Plus she could help pick up her half of the bills. Here's where I started to realize TIFU. Girlfriend comes driving in with a brand new car. Considering we were living paycheck to paycheck, I was pretty upset. I asked her where she got the car from and she told me, "I've been saving up." Bullshit, but okay. I loved her, so as long as she's happy, I'm happy. Next comes in with write-ups. I started getting write-ups and customer complaints left and right. I'm a very good employee and I very rarely make anyone upset. I couldn't even find where these customers were coming from. Even though my performance was the best out of most employees, I was starting to fear for my job. As to be predicted, I ended up getting fired. I tried to fight it, but I live in Texas, and the rules are that companies can fire anyone at any time for any reason. I'm absolutely crushed. I turned to my girlfriend for emotional support to find her extremely distant. She dumped me days later, double whammy. I loved her for 6 years. She told me she felt this way for a while. Things are the same. I'm absolutely heartbroken. I'm angry, depressed, jobless. Felt like my life got flipped upside down. 1 week later, her Facebook status put her in a relationship with her boss. My boss. Not sure when it happened, but he bought her a car, and then got me fired. Turns out all the customer complaints about me originated from that store somehow. Total BS. I set her up to absolutely FCK me over and to bone my boss. TLDR, I got my girlfriend a job only for her to FCK my boss and to get me fired. I'm still a little sad about it, but it is what it is. Edit. Perhaps the biggest foo is the fact I didn't sue. I was such an emotional wreck from everything it didn't even cross my mind. But I'm doing pretty well for myself now, and whatever money I'd get wouldn't be worth bringing her to court for. Just the thought of seeing her sends chills down my spine. Update. A couple of you guys were wondering, but they dated a few months and broke it off. Neither of them work for the company anymore. A little detail I forgot to mention, that when she came to take her stuff from our place, he was helping carry the stuff to her car. That was probably the most gut-wrenching moment for me. Both of them are POS. Second update. I really appreciate all the positive feedback. I've been mostly over it, but the love really helps. Some of you guys are asking where she is now. She's doing alright. She's engaged to one of my old high school friends, also slightly suspicious. Still driving that same car, too, from the looks of it. I'm doing pretty well for myself, and if there's any happy ending to this, is that I'm genuinely happier than I've ever been in my life. Third and probable final update. Again, I really appreciate the positive messages. Reliving and retelling the story made me angry and I missed a few details. I can't prove that he bought her a car, but I was pretty aware of her finances, and she couldn't afford a new car without significant help. It wasn't a fancy car, it was a new Prius that was worth about $18,000, in addition to trading in her old car. And the rumor around the block was that he did in fact help her. I was not a perfect boyfriend, I got upset at silly things, I could have been more attentive, but I never raised my voice, and I was very loyal. The course of when she got promoted to when she got the car was roughly 3 or 4 months, the separation and firing happened about 2 months after that. I didn't clarify that detail. Title: TIFU by asking my neighbor if his wife has pepperoni nipples. This happened a few months ago. I, 24M, still live in my parents' house. My neighbor, let's call him Jim, approximately 35M, has lived next door to us with his wife and children for around 5 or 6 years. We had never really interacted with each other, spare a wave or a hello, until this past summer. We ended up getting along well. We would shoot the shit, toss some disc, throw a baseball around. Things like that. One day Jim was sitting on his front lawn with another neighbor of ours drinking a beer. I asked if I was welcome to come hang out and crack a couple open. They said yes, and this is where my fuck-up happens. I was a mere 2 beers in, feeling a little awkward trying to hold a conversation with 2 men, born in completely different generations and with completely different upbringings than me. The topic shifted to food somehow, and Jim mentioned that his wife loved pizza. He followed this up by saying his wife was totally a pizza person. My young, shitlord mind imagined a slice of pizza with human facial features and slices of pepperoni as nipples. So in my naive attempt to add humor to the conversation, I said, "A pizza person, huh? Does that mean she has, like, pepperoni nipples?" The brief silence that followed felt like an eternity. Jim retorted by saying, "Come on, man. That's my wife you're talking about." I fell silent, and hastily finished my beer. Needless to say, our interactions since then have been few and very brief. His young children still gleefully say hi to me when they're all outside. Every time I am reminded of the shame I felt when I insinuated that their mother has pepperoni nipples. TLDR, drank some beers with some neighbors I barely knew. One said his wife is a pizza person. Title: TIFU by offering a potential supervisor $1 off an exorcism. This happened earlier today. I was watching YouTube videos and a Liquid Death canned mountain water commercial came on. They had a witch come in and curse their water with demons in their product for spooky season, and at the end said they're giving $1 coupons for exorcism if you happen to get possessed after drinking their water. My boyfriend got a case of Liquid Death last year and loved it, so naturally I sent him a text about the promotion. Liquid Death had a witch infuse their water with demons and is offering $1 off exorcisms if you get possessed. I was wondering why my boyfriend hadn't texted back, because he'd be all over that. 2 hours later I receive a text, "It's where you select the job you want, select all of them, and I don't need $1 off exorcisms." I wasn't sure what my boyfriend was talking about, so I looked at who sent it. It was one of the supervisors at Walmart. I had been texting both my boyfriend and the supervisor all day. I don't back out of texts after I send them, and when I open apps to send messages, I do it pretty quickly and sometimes don't look at the recipient. I had texted the supervisor most recently, so that was the chat that was already open when I went to text my boyfriend and sent him this text. He replied very nonchalantly and continued to help me with my application and management. There's pretty chill, so I'm hoping it'll fine. They will be getting back to me about my background check on Monday, so I will update then. If I get hired, I think I'll buy a can for this supervisor sometime as a joke, but not offer them the exorcism coupon since they can afford a full price exorcism. Title: TIFU by unknowingly Rick-rolling millions of people. Obligatory happened about 2 months ago. Context starts 4 years ago. So, more than 4 years ago now, I made a website as a hobby project to generate web pages with customized fake titles and descriptions that would actually just rick-roll people. Fun idea, just some software practice back while I was still working more actively to level up one as an engineer. Anyway, fast forward about 4 years, to late August this year, and I was on my server doing some maintenance on a different app of mine that I actually use semi-frequently, and I noticed that there were actually a kinda significant number of people making pages with the Rickroll app. I checked it out again myself and saw that the generated pages were actually broken so that the video wasn't playing. I went ahead and fixed the thing and didn't really think that much more about it. Fast forward again to the beginning of this October and I get a very unexpected, simply massive bill for outbound public data transfer from my one little server. Like, I don't actually want to say how much, but it was a lot. They were charging me for approximately 100 terabytes at $0.01 per gigabyte, so you can do that math if you want. So I'm like, WTF. There's no way that this can be right. And I open a ticket with DigitalOcean support and complain that they're billing me wrong. And actually they were unbelievably nice and agreed to excuse the charges, since they were also like, you only have this one small server. This doesn't seem right, yeah. By the way, shameless plug, my experience with DigitalOcean has been great if you're looking for a web services provider that's not a massive corporation with questionable or straight up evil business practices. Anyway, I kept looking into it though, added Google Analytics to the generated pages to get some actual tracking data to see how many views the pages people were creating were getting, and folks, it is a lot. As I mentioned, there were already a not insignificant number of people trying to make pages when the app was broken, and once I fixed it that number climbed pretty rapidly. Since I've been actually tracking it, the combined views for the pages people make are more or less than 1 million depending on the week. So like I said, I made this thing years ago as a hobby project and was OBVS not thinking about how my joke Rick-rolling website would scale to millions of users, so I was, but am no longer, lol, just hosting and serving an actual MP4 file of the music video directly from the server. As soon as I fixed the bug so that the video would actually play, I very quickly wound up unwittingly serving that video file to hundreds of thousands of people daily. And anyway, that's the story of how I became the foremost Rickroll enabler on the internet, concretely tracked, indisputable, and what it almost cost me. Doctor, I fixed an app that I made for Rick-rolling people and got a bill for serving an MP4 of the iconic NGGYU music video to millions of people.